Hello, everyone, and welcome to this wacky idea of mine that may or may not make sense. Could I do a Dresden tier list and a Vorkosigan tier list? Absolutely. Would that make more sense? Probably yes. But I have an ulterior motive, which is for all the Vorkosigan fans to see how high the Dresden stuff is and be like, there's no way it's better than I'm going to read it to prove you wrong. Or alternatively, if you're less contrarian, being like, oh, interesting, and vice versa. So since it's double the series, we also have double the people. And let me introduce my guest, Mr. Benghis Kahn. Do you want to introduce yourself and explain to the people the timing of how this ended up happening and why you were here?
Well, Jake and I have been long-standing Dresden Files mega fans, and he got into Vorkosigan a couple years ago, put it on my own TBR as part of a TBR competition, gave me Shards of Honor, start me off, and I got addicted. I got hooked. There's 21 or so stories, 16 novels in Vorkosigan, and I did them in a bunch of binges over the course of this past year, and we recently just finished up the last bunch of those. So it's kind of the end of that whole Vorkosigan arc. I guess there could be more books there, but that's fresh in our both of our minds. And I think it's become a new favorite series and just a complete obsession of both of ours recently. And so we want to see how it stacks up against one of our old standbys.
Yeah, and so this is going to be mostly spoiler-free, but as a warning, there just will be minor spoilers by the nature of talking about things. So we're not like, yeah, so I enjoyed how that one character who showed up 2 books ago has a really interesting... So there will be things, for example, of I might mention the name of books that have later point of views. You might get that some people are alive. You might get supernatural elements that appear in the book. I'm not going to spoil the plot of the individual books. So, for example, if this, I know I'm don't worry, I'm not about to spoil one of these. I'm going to spoil something I can spoil, if there was a Shakespeare tier list with combined with something else, I'm not going to be like, yeah, when Romeo and Juliet both died at the end, that was really impactful. Obviously, yes, I just spoiled Romeo and Juliet if no one cares. But I have this joint tier list. We're going to be going in chronological order. And I was just comparing this series to Dresden in my head the entire time. It just feels so similar. I made a video on how similar they are, which Ben called Big Brained. I appreciate. I thought it was
a great video. The parallels in the overall just feel of these series and the way the individual books feel fantastic comparison. If you love one of these, there's a great chance you might fall in love with the other.
So I have this tier list. You'll note it does not go below fine. I know Ben is not historically known for his bell curving, and I don't want everything to end up in all-time favorites. So I've tried to name these to manipulate him. The way this works is slightly by democracy, but ultimately I have the mouse, so I have the last say. So we both have a vote. But, we know whose vote. One person's vote might count for a little bit more than others. But Ben, without further ado, how do you feel about Falling Free by Louis McMaster Bujold?
Falling Free, I had low expectations. It doesn't have the greatest reputation as a shining Vorkosigan book. It's this weird kind of thing in the series of being a non-Vorkosigan family kind of book. It's a standalone. It's by far the earliest in the chronology. But I read it kind of right in the middle of the whole sequence, just kind of threw it in and really got into it. I thought the plotting was suspenseful and solid. It just shut off another aspect of the world with these kind of genetically engineered people who have 4 arms instead of arms and legs, and they get caught up in this very tense political situation. And I had a great time with it. Where it falls on this bell curve is going to be the tough situation. I would say it was good. It was solid read, nothing incredible, nothing too memorable, but I had a good time with it. For me, it was
okay. Good. Yeah, so I was a little worried because it had a 3-point-something rating on Goodreads, which I truly don't understand. I'm bad at names, so I forgot the protagonist's name, but I thought he was really well
written. Van Atta? Or is he the bad guy?
Protagonist?
Yeah.
I think he's the bad guy. I forget his name, whatever. The engineer protagonist. It was really well paced. I think I read this. I was on vacation. I might have read this in a day. I'm kind of in between high good or low damn good. I think damn good is the middle one, so we can put a lot in damn good. Like when I
you know
think
what?
Falling Free, I'm like, that was a damn good book.
I'd be happy going with it in damn good. Like I was gripped. I read it. I ended up getting pretty into the main character's arc, and the I was impressed. For one of her earliest books, and I'm happy with it and damn good.
All right, yeah, and I also think it was a cool exploration of like what happens if like technology becomes obsolete. Normally we're like whatever, but what if that technology? What happens with that? When that intersects with like genetically modifications? So it had some interesting thematic stuff. Anyways, we can't talk too much about each book, or we'll be here for several hours. So Stormfront. This is going to start a little one-sided for the Vorkosigan fans. The Vorkosigan fans watching this are going to be like, this is not going well for Dresden. So tell me about Stormfront. Is Stormfront an absolute masterpiece of a novel that shook the entire genre with its glory?
No, it's kind of like a really small scale start. This more mystery, feels a little tropey. Yeah, this is just the very beginning. Like,
it's fun, but it's fine.
Yeah,
right. Like we can just put it in fine and move on. Like Dresden's a fun protagonist. He's funny, a little cringy at times.
I was into the mystery and how this whole plot played out. Like I hadn't read anything like it before, so it felt fresh for me. But so fine, I think it was
like,
fine.
There is some cool world building stuff, like Morgan in the White Council. There's like the titular scene where he's racing the store, but it's like it's not amazing. Okay,
one of the weaker endings out of all of these ending kind of sequences.
I'm going to go first, and then I'm going to yell at Ben he's going to be biased here because he's reread only one Vorkosigan novel. I'm going to predict he's probably just going to like them all more on reread, but he's only reread one of them. So we're going to see if we argue about this. So Shards of Honor is conventionally the first Vorkosigan novel you read, and it's the one I would recommend you start with. It follows Cordelia Vorkosigan, and I think it's pretty damn good. I'm pretty high on Shards of Honor. A lot of people have it like lower on their Vorkosigan relatively. I do think it's a below average Vorkosigan book for me, but that's still pretty damn good. The dialogue and like chemistry between the two main characters is pretty amazing.
Yes,
it's a little janky, and there's kind of like three plots. It's kind of three novellas in a trench coat. And so there's kind of three jumps where you're just kind of like, what are we doing? There's just some really good writing. Like there's one where I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but I remember I had it written down for my own reaction. Where there's one where like Cordelia like put her head against the glass and weep for her enemies, and then later it's like the same but weep for herself.
Yes,
I think I like it more than Falling Free. Thoughts?
Well, for sure. I couldn't help myself after I finished the whole series. I went back and reread this one. I was just hungry for more. I wanted to see kind of how everything came full circle more clearly by going back to book one. And I was blown away on reread. Like she came out just firing with witty dialogue, with insane amounts of world building details and plot details and character arc things that set up everything going forward. Like it was just a masterpiece in terms of setting things up. I might put this in amazing, just especially giving extra points, like as a book one, what it's able to do and how strong it is coming out at the shoot. But yeah, okay, I'm fine with it and damn good. Definitely above Falling Free.
Yeah, I do think it does have like one thing that drops it back for me, other than being three novellas in a trench coat. I do think like world building wise, it starts off a little like it feels kind of like standard sci-fi world. Mm-hmm. And the world, I think, similar to like for Stormfront, it kind of feels like generic urban fantasy. But I do think like the world building develops in depth as you go. But man, Cordelia and Errol's dialogue is so good. Yeah, I mean, so Fischel's dialogue general. She's such a good dialogue.
It pops. It's full of just like implication, and you actually have to pay attention and really be inhabiting the characters' perspectives to fully understand, like, ooh, what did that person mean? What did Errol mean there? Like, what did Cordelia mean with that line of dialogue? And the way it develops becomes so emotionally charged with the way the plot develops and just across the whole book. And it's so intense. Like, as a book one of a long-standing series, like it gets so intense with some of these situations and scenes, and it hit on the first read for me for sure, but it took time to get into it. But since I was already grounded in the whole writing style and world building and characters, when I came back to as a reread, it was just even easier to get into it. And I think it really shines on
It's going to be really weird to reread it and be like, wait, some of these people are like young. What's going on?
Yeah.
So Full Moon is just kind of slightly worse Stormfront, unfortunately, where Jim was like, I have 700 ideas for different werewolves. And it was like, all right, Jim, you need to cut a couple of those. And he's like, the plot will have all of them. They will all be relevant. And it's like, okay, Jim, sure. The scene with the not quite invisibility potion is really cool. And then he also has like the shot of adrenaline potion, and like the writing style changes because he has a shot of adrenaline. So it was still fun to read. There's some face palmy scenes. But like, do we need to talk more about? Do you have anything to say about?
No, it might be my least favorite because it is actually the only one I've never done a full reread of. I never got the real urge and desire to reread it.
Yeah,
it was fine on my first read, but like just comparing it to the other books in both series, it feels to me like the weakest of all the novels, like, maybe. But
I think it's the weakest of all the novels.
Yeah,
like it's not boring. Like I'm not bored while reading it, but I do think it's the weakest of every novel here. For a novel that's not the weakest of every novel here, do you want to tell us about Barrayar?
Ooh, Barrayar. It's the whole reading order and publishing order of Vorkosigan is wacky because she didn't write it all in kind of chronological order, but she wrote a whole bunch of kind of books that she thought could have been like the book one of the series, or what a publisher might want to buy, and maybe around a different main character. And then after she wrote a whole bunch of books, like she came back to follow up on Shards of Honor with Barrayar. So this is book two in the main kind of Vorkosigan part of the series, and it is just an incredible follow-up. I just love being with Cordelia as the main POV, first of all, and I felt like Bujold just kind of grew as an author in these early years, and it didn't have that awkwardness of Shards of Honor, or feeling like a little disjointed, like you said, like the different novellas up, together in a trench coat. Like this felt like a really coherent, fluid novel that went from a little slice of life to insanely high stakes political drama and intrigue. So it was a huge hit for me. I liked it more than Shards of Honor when I did the first read. I'd probably put it in the top of damn good or amazing, possibly.
I'm good to put it in amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to come up with like criticisms for Barrayar, I do think I remember on Discord, like Oliver was trying to decide the reading order, and he was going to do like full publication order, and I was like, please just read Barrayar second. And he found like a story of how like I think it was almost, I don't know if it was just like outlined, but originally like Shards of Honor or Barrayar, I think were like written in one effort, but then like only Shards of Honor got published. And then she like went back, and then it was like, oh, I can like do the rest of this now, but then like made it better. I think it doesn't start as instantly as Shards of Honor. I do think it is like an even more like emotionally complex novel. Like Barrayar rips. Some of the scenes in the later season, I'm so excited to reread it.
Yeah, it sets up so much for everything that comes after. Yeah, it's, man, the last half, I love the slice of life part, actually. I feel like you get the real feel of life on Barrayar, the culture of the capital, and the culture of the like political elites, the Vors, and it just feels like such essential slice of life setup, and the feel for Cordelia's life at this point, and it then transitions into like just an unbelievably tense kind of political and thriller drama that is so high stakes for so many reasons. Yeah, incredible. Book two, incredible. Yeah,
and
that initial duology, it's so easy for people to get into Vorkosigan, I think, because that initial duology they read of Shards of Honor, Barrayar, like it's so strong. So yeah, love it.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm good with amazing as well. I could see top 10. Like there's some books that I think are more amazing, but I think it's amazing. And for the Dresden fans, you're gonna just have to be patient with us. You know how we tell readers to be patient with the books. When they get better, you're just gonna have to be patient with us. So, how do you feel about Grave Peril, Ben?
I remember feeling like it was a real step up in my investment. And it felt like things were starting to build, meeting new really interesting side characters. Michael, I mean, come on. And the way this built to this extended, really tense climactic sequence, I feel like was Jim kind of coming to his own with kind of style that would really shine with later. So I liked it a lot, but still had some cringy aspects to it. Took a little while to get going. I'd say good for Grave Peril.
I am again mostly in agreement. I think it's clearly better than the first two. Just like writing wise, it just feels better and deeper. It starts a lot more of like the long-term arcs. The first two, I think, feel more self-contained and more episodic. And this, I think, gets me more invested in like the more long-term story of Dresden. I think the final act is just like more intense and more insane, which is one of the advantages Dresden is going to have as we go through. That party's pretty crazy. I think it's funnier. I mean, Harry being like cheesy vampire was peak. Michael was pretty great. It has some more creative problem solving at some points.
Also, huge amount of Easter eggs that he's just
starts like
in there.
It's like 9 plot lines. Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable and good. Like I do think as I scroll through, I'm like I don't. I'm like if I think of Grave Peril, I'm not like that's a damn good novel. But I'm like that's good. You know, I think it's below these and above these. I think we're doing pretty good. So that means it's my turn to talk first about The Warrior's Apprentice.
Ooh.
And the introduction of our protagonist, Miles Naismith Vorkosigan, my goat. I absolutely love this novel. I might love it an irrational amount. Ben might have to talk me down. We will see. This introduces Miles, and this is Miles at his youngest. And Miles is always a chaotic individual, but this is him at his most chaotic. This is a Miles who has not learned to temper his chaos with consequences. And this is bad for the people around him. But you know who it's not bad for? Me, the reader. Because we get some absolutely wild shit in this novel. And then as I was having a blast. I was laughing maniacally. That is what this book was doing. Like an event would happen, and I'm just like I was on vacation in Southeast Asia with my family, and I wanted to explain what I was reading because I was just like, you don't know what is happening. And then Bajolda's like, yeah, did you forget about consequences? Yeah, it's not all fun. Sometimes there are consequences. And then I was like, oh no, a hike, like a trek started, and I couldn't continue for 4 hours. And it was
brutal. Brutal.
But so
yeah, I mean, young Miles, like being like, it is chaos. It is you're
my
going a mile a minute. It's this started like this set of books that felt like kind of like madcap space adventures where you never know where Miles is going to lead you next. And it was a lot of fun. You're definitely higher on this particular Miles book than I am. It took me a little bit longer to like truly warm up to Miles. I think I was still on the Cordelia train. Like Angela said, your love of Miles mirrors her love for his mom. It's like I was in the Angela, but like I was so attached to the Cordelia POV that it was tough to transition. And so that I would probably go with this in damn good, but I'm okay with you.
So we'll compromise and we'll put it below barrier, but in amazing. Is that an equitable compromise?
Perfect.
Okay. And then we have Summer Night, which Summer Night, I feel like is pretty damn good. Summer Night is definitely my favorite of the first 4. Some people like the Fairy Courts less than me. I love the Fairy Courts. I think this is the highest stakes one. It has some just great world building stuff. I love the climax of it and like the final act. I think Summer Night's pretty damn good.
He totally got me with some of the plot twists and the mystery elements, and then I was glued to my seat for the entire climactic sequence. This went even way bigger than the Great Peril climactic sequence. Stakes were huge, just epic things were happening up in the sky. Like, it was a wild, wild time, and it's some serious consequences too. And I think Jim's also really good at delivering those real emotional, hard hitting beats that do have long lasting consequences in down the line. And I'm good with it and damn good. It doesn't reach a lot of the heights of my favorite books here, but it also had one of my most extended, if I have this book right, one of my least favorite big extended action sequences in Dresden with the kind of plant monster. Is that in Summer Night?
Oh, you don't like the plant monster? That's in Walmart. Summer Night, yeah. Yeah.
The Walmart action scene that didn't really do it for me. And but it's just like one action sequence in the middle of the book. That maybe drags it down a little bit, but I do love the fairy stuff. So good with that.
How do you feel between Summer Night or Falling Free? Do we get to put a Dresden book above a Vorkosigan book, or so far is it still all 4 Vorkosigan books and then all 4 Dresden books?
Oh man, that's a really tough one actually. Because of the climactic sequence might go with Summer Night above Falling Free, but I'm good either way. Actually,
I'm pretty close either way, and I'm kind of willing to defer to you. So this is problematic if you're willing to defer to me.
I would Falling Free. I like that a lot. You know what? I'm going with Falling Free above it because I didn't have any major problems with any of the sequences. I didn't find engaging. Whereas that big plant monster, didn't really do it for me.
Botanical section. I think so. Anyway, it's been too long since I read Summer Night. So that leaves you to tell us, Ben, about the novella, The Mountains of Mourning.
Oh my goodness. This thing hits like an emotional freight train. It's kind of stepping back from the Madcap space adventure and is more of a quiet story of Miles back at home, trying to take some of the lead in his father's political district that Count Vorkosigan runs. And I found this entire thing extremely compelling. And you're kind of in this rural environment. Bujo's going for something totally different here. A lot of kind of real world socio-political themes coming through. And I felt like it was all just working really well. It's a novella. It's not going to have a lot of the same impact as some of the longer books, but man, I think it's damn good.
Damn good. Okay. Where do you want to put it on damn good?
Probably, man. I mean, I really loved it. Maybe above Falling Free.
Okay, that's pretty close to where I'd put it. It I think is pretty great in terms of emotional punch. If I had to try and like nitpick, I don't know. I think this novel wants me to feel this is a murder mystery, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say like there is a murderer. I feel like this novel wants me to have a little more empathy for the person who did the murder than I do. And I'm kind of just like, no, they're pretty terrible. But that being said, like it still works. And I think I might even have it higher than Shards. It's pretty close for me. If you have it below Shards, I'm cool with that though.
Yeah. But, I think Shards does so much with a bunch of the characters that.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's great. This one's a great stepping stone for Miles' development.
That's true.
And I would recommend reading in chronological order too, so you get that kind of full development. I know it's part of the Borders Infinity collection that was published later, but if you were reading this, I'd go for it in chrono order.
And it's time for Dresden to throw its first real jab here with Death Masks. Tell us about Death Masks by Jim Butcher.
Oh my goodness.
Dresden, we've kind of just been doing this so far with Vorkosigan being
this one is book 5, and if a Dresden book is a multiple of 5 in the series, the Denarians are coming. And this group, and led by Nicodemus Arcleon, is one of the most compelling set of antagonists I've ever read, and just bring a crackling energy to these stories and to these situations that it's just something special. This is, I think, a step up in terms of like as a standalone mystery. It was just so high stakes, so tense, some new side characters. I mean, like one of my favorite side characters in Dresden is kind of just in this book only, basically.
Shiro. Oh, he's so good.
And like with the Denarians, you also are involving the Knights of the Cross. Like there are side characters galore in here that stand out, and I had a great time with it. It's like I think it was a step up for the whole series. So
and it's really funny on reread because I always forget how much happens in this novel because I think of the Denarian plot and I forget there's also a Red Court vampire plot. Like, do you ever just forget that plot exists? Now, what's also worth noting, one reason I forget that plot exists is because that plot's not as good as the Denarian plot. But it also introduces Ivy, which I think is a major point of its favor because Ivy's awesome. So I think I would vote between Falling Free and Mountains of Mourning. Yeah, which I know that doesn't seem that much higher than Summer Night, but there's a lot of books to go. Do you agree with me?
Really good with it there, yeah.
Okay, sick. So that means it's your turn for the next two. Oh, no, wait, it's my turn for the next two. To be the first intro. And the first one is The Vor Game by Lewis McMaster Bjold. Our second full Miles novel. In Warrior's Apprentice, he fully embraced chaos. And here he tries to do things properly. And it's a lot harder than embracing chaos. Chaos is his element. He's not a man of order. I don't quite like the Vor Game as much as I like Warrior's Apprentice. I am a fan of full chaos Miles. Give me Admiral Naismith any day. It's still pretty damn good. You get some really, really good scenes with Gregor, who, if we ever did a joint Dresden Vorkosigan character tier list, which maybe, Gregor would be pretty damn high. I remember a line. It has the best hostage negotiation ever. And there's a line laid on where someone thanks Miles for not underestimating them. That was pretty good. So I think it's a damn good novel, but I do not think I like it as much as Shards of Honor, Mountains of Mourning. I think I like it more than Falling Free. I don't know if I like it more than Death Masks or not. What do you think?
I'm good in that spot, actually. I'm right with you there. I liked it, didn't love it. Are you aware that it was actually a fix-up novel? She had written this Weatherman.
Yeah, like, the start, like the Weatherman, like, the first bit of it. It was supposed to be
I was not the biggest fan of that little kind of novella start, and it's a little disjointed. Once we're in space and it's the Madcap Miles in space thing going on, I was having a great time. But actually now in my memory of all the books, it's kind of the one that I remember the least from, I think, out of literally all of the books for some reason. And I know it was fun and engaging along the way, but it didn't have a lot of impact. So I'm good with it.
Below Death Mask?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, it has Gregor, but Death Mask has Shiro. So and then we get Blood Rights. So Blood Rights is going to be, in my opinion, Dresden's last foray. Side jobs exists. Dresden's second last foray into the fine category. I think Blood Rights has some very good character writing, and Jim is clearly a better writer than when he wrote like Stormfront and Full Moon and like Grave Peril and Summer Night and even Death Masks. I think he'd improved. The problem with this compared to Death Masks is Death Masks has two plots, and one of them absolutely rips, and one of them is like pretty damn good. And this book has two plots that interact less, and they're both worse. So I think Blood Rights is better than Stormfront and Full Moon, but I can't get it ahead of, and it's got some cringy stuff. I can't get it.
It does. The main mystery plot is one of the weakest, easily, of the whole Dresden
and
series.
The Blampire plot is literally just the most straightforward, no twists. Bad guy, we found bad guy, we fought bad guy.
Yeah, the problem with this book is that like the opening scene is, I love that.
Oh, and
the middle sequence, with, that involves Dresden and some
we the people who read Blood Rights know what you mean. Yeah,
some character stuff going on that's unrelated to the
plot,
porn, video shoot mystery plot that's going on. That is so essential to the whole series, and it's really emotionally hard hitting. It just is nestled within this larger book, which is a step down from where the last couple were. So it overall felt like a big disappointment and is fairly forgettable outside of that like middle sequence.
We also should give it credit. I think the final scene where he talks with, I think I just said the name, he has a conversation with Ebenezer is also chef's kiss. Excellent. Which I don't know if it's not as memorable as the other stuff, so it might have been forgotten, but it's really good. That being said, I can't in my head, like if someone's like, what do I think of Bloodright? The word that comes to my head is not good. The word is fine.
Yeah.
So Setaganda.
It's I wish Bloodright didn't exist though, because it's like it does make people getting into Dresden who aren't fully sold on it from the beginning books, like it's tougher. It's like, it's not just like, get through the first couple and then it's like smooth sailing up, increasing investment. It's like there'll be these like valleys and like,
I will give
you gotta keep convincing people to go on.
I will give Bloodrights one thing. Bloodrights is hilarious. This is probably Harry at some of his most like on the chaotic lawful chart. This might be him at some of his most chaotic. But it's got like for my next trick anvils. It's got the opening line of like the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault. It does have like Jim has joked that like him and Harry both have like issues with authority. This might be where Harry had the most issues with authority. So, but that being said, I still like Great Promo. Setaganda.
Ooh, Setaganda. I got this cool hardcover. This I was a little bit underwhelmed, maybe, because it's a quieter political mystery intrigue book, but I feel like I'm just kinder to it thinking back on it, and if I reread it, I think I would actually love it. Like, it's a lot of great character interaction between Miles and Ivan on a diplomatic mission, and we get really cool world building of this important culture that has this entangled history with Barrier and going to war with them. And yeah, I was pretty gripped to the plot in the end. I think it took me a little while to get there, but man, I don't know how to think about this, because I think I should have been loving it more, and I will love it more on reread. So I'm gonna say good.
Okay.
Good for Setaganda.
So it's very much a side quest, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a pretty damn good side quest. Ooh, I just said it's a pretty damn good side quest. I think I would have it in low damn good, but I'm fine with putting it in high good in terms of compromise. I do like it less than the Vor game and probably less than Falling Free. I think it'd also be it Falling Free and Summer Night would probably be reasonably close. But it's just like it is very side questy. Like it doesn't feel like it pushes the narrative to the same degree. But it's a damn good side quest though. Okay, it's good. It's good. I definitely like it's top of good and Grave Peril's bottom of good though. Like these are next to each other.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few books in between them. So ready? How I was like, for a while Dresden was just covering up, had one little jab with death masks. Now it's time for Dresden to throw a salvo, a combination, maybe even a knockout one. Can you tell us about Deadbeat by Jim Butcher?
Deadbeat, I mean, there are iconic moments of the series, multiple that come up throughout. It starts intense and it never lets up. It is gripping on first read, on reread. You'll be laughing your ass off in moments. You'll be extremely tense. The climactic sequence is just a crowd pleaser for basically everyone that's ever read it. It has hard-hitting twists, like all these different competing like antagonist factions that you don't fully know how they're related, how Harry's going to deal with all of them. The way it all comes together, just perfection. I think it's amazing.
Better than Barry?
I would go top. I'd go top of amazing, I think.
I completely agree. Deadbeat absolutely rips. So Deadbeat, I don't think there's like one thing that makes it better than the previous Dresden books, but it's just enough better at everything. So I think this is the first book where I was like, damn, Harry as a protagonist is like really, really outstandingly good. it, I think, has the first top tier like reveal rug pull plot twist in the series that's like very good. And then after this, like most of the books have a very good one, but Deadbeat still stands out as like one of the better ones where it's, you just look at it and you're like, damn, Jim, that was really, really well done. Just the stakes, the tension.
Yeah.
Oh,
the way that Harry is put in a new position of kind of taking care of Butters, this almost helpless at first, coroner who's doesn't have magical powers, and thrown into this crazy situation with all these undead necromancers going around town. I loved how Harry was taking care of Butters and the way that kind of develops, and the things around like the one-man band and the poke, like those provided some of my favorite fun moments of the series and some amazing lines. I don't want to even reveal them in case people haven't read it yet. But,
yeah, I'm good with it. I think Deadbeat is my favorite of all the books that we have listed. Oh, actually, I might like Warrior's Apprentice more, but as a group, I like Warrior's Apprentice an irrational amount. But as a group, I don't think I like it more than Barrier, and I like it more than you like Warrior's Apprentice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves you Labyrinth.
Ooh, okay. This is a strange, fun little side quest of a novella, but actually introduces a kind of important side character going forward in the series. And I was into this. I think Bujold was just kind of finding her groove with writing Miles at this point of kind of his overall character arc, and where he was kind of growing into his role, and it's not that impactful because it's not that long, and it's just kind of this one plot, but I liked it. I would call it good, probably end of good.
Okay. Better than Setagonda or worse than Setagonda in your opinion?
Worse. Didn't do nearly as much there. But
so funnily enough, that's exactly where I would put it. I think it's good. It's a little weird. Like there's some scenes where it was kind of like, Dresden has a lot of these. Where it's kind of like, Jim, what were you cooking? Labyrinth has one of the noteworthy ones in the Vorkosigan Saga. But it introduces Jackson Hole, which ends up being really important from a world building perspective. And I do think the character it introduces does a very like beautiful story in terms of conception. So it definitely is good, but I do think most of the other stuff is more good.
Yeah.
So what about Proven Guilty?
Oh,
which actually does have a Jim, what were you cooking moment, but still
does, yeah.
Proven Guilty.
I recently reread this because I thought I might be chatting about it with Philip Chase. He read it for the first time, and this is really, really fresh in my memory. And this one holds up a little worse for me on reread than a lot of the others. Like I like this actually a lot more on first read when I didn't know the plot twists and the reveals and everything. It's very mystery heavy. It's somewhat self-contained, but it does set up an extremely important kind of side character and relationship going forward for Harry. I don't know if you want to reveal that kind of for spoiler reasons. It's probably okay to reveal that, but who kind of is essential to this book. But it also is pretty thematically deep and is very thematically coherent with kind of where it starts with the opening scene of kind of this teenage warlock getting condemned to death by the White Council, and the way that Harry's dealing with how the White Council meets out justice. It's pretty thematically deep.
But I'm pretty sure the opening line of this one goes hard. Blood leaves no stain on a warden's gray cloak. How's that for an opening line?
The opening is
Dresden.
Yeah,
they just go pretty hard.
The opening scene is really intense. It sets up what ends up being a very thematically coherent story, and the mystery was okay. I was engaged with it, definitely more on first read. The climactic sequence is like surprising, and it does kind of play with your expectations and does some non-traditional things, and it's a lot of like things that Jim is nodding at for future books and is throwing in there as seeds for things to develop later. It's a weird one. I like it. It might be so like end of damn good. Like definitely letting my like third read of it cloud me because it worked better on first read, but I'd probably keep it above Summer Night.
Okay, so I'm definitely higher on this book than you are. For me, it's like obvious damn good. I think it does a really good job with like the it's one of the first examples where Jim does the thing where you had a character who was kind of in the background who you thought was like kind of one-dimensional, and then Jim turns that kind of around on you and shows a sense of underlying depth. And I think this is really one of the first books where you get to see the like depth of supporting cast characterization in the series. I think it manages to tell like a pretty personal character driven story while also like ending up being very high stakes without feeling forced. It has Rashid in it and he's the GOAT. So I like Proven Guilty definitively more than Death Masks, and definitively.
Oh, wow.
I would probably have it between Shards of Honor and Mountains of Mourning. But I think if we average
I won't
that
argue
out,
with you there. I would have been right there with you actually on my first read.
Okay, well, I've read it like 7 times, so I don't think you can be like that. You know, I don't know if it's 7. I've read it more times than you have. I think if we average that out, I think I'm going to put it in between Death Masks and Vor Game for combined. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's my turn.
It's a solid spot right there in the middle.
I feel like I'm getting the less exciting ones. Because then you get, I get Brother in Arms though. I get Brother in Arms and Turncoat. Okay, so Ethan of Athos is another non-Miles story. And it's probably the least connected of, I mean, maybe even less connected than Falling Free. I don't know. I don't think Athos ever comes up again.
No, it doesn't.
Like, this is a world where basically, so we can say the premise because there's no spoilers for previous books in this. So this is a premise. They're on an entire planet that has used technology to basically get, create children without women. So they're like, they've got like a order and they're like beliefs and they're like women. No, that's not a thing.
Yeah, it's an entire planet.
It's like we don't do that
men.
here.
Yeah,
it's all men, and they have like genetic material that they have to get to do this, and they need to send someone incorruptible out to brave all the places that have all those evil women. And so they send Ethan of Athos, and he is amusing because, bro, like he is really lucky that he ran into someone with ethics. Because if he ran into someone other than Ellie Quinn, he would have been screwed. Like he, of course, like, you know, everyone treats him fairly and sees this extremely naive person and says, it's okay. I could try and scam you, but instead I shall be honest. And he ends up in kind of this like web of intrigue. It gets very intense. Kind of a weird premise. I'm going to put it, I would personally have it on mine. I think top of good above Setaganda, but I am willing to have it moved. What do you think of Ethan of Athos?
Yeah, that's a good spot for it. I had a really good time with it because she does awesomely fun POV work with Ethan because of his, you know, biases against women that have been ingrained in him in the Athos culture. And so for him, like, there's just hilarious line after hilarious line in his internal monologue and some of his dialogue. And to see him kind of grow in his perspective was, it became, you know, somewhat deep on that front. And but it was just so much fun, and the intrigue plot was okay. I guess holds it down that the overall plotting, you know, wasn't the highlight. And
I've decided
not really
I like
that connected
to
other things, but
I've changed.
I'm good with it in here. I probably liked it more than Setaganda, but if you want to keep it there, but I had a fun time with it. I think
I've decided Miles is the GOAT, and therefore Setaganda is better.
It feels like a satisfying standalone though. Like I don't feel shortchanged that she decided not to return to this main character. Like I know Angela mentioned that she wrote it at the same time as Warriors Apprentice, Shards of Honor. Like she was trying to write these different books to sell the publisher and see if, like, you know, one would really stick as like the main character of her series. And I think this worked as like a one-off. It might have gotten tiring, and it wouldn't have felt, you know, hit the same with this character. I think sticking with him longer. So it felt like a nice, satisfying arc. I liked it. I had fun. Yeah, pretty cool, fun book.
So then next up is White Knight by Jim Butcher. This is probably less memorable than the surrounding books. Like, I think there's just more stuff in Proven Guilty and Small Favor that stands out in people's memory. I am definitely a White Knight enjoyer. I think it begins to develop one of the primary relationships between like Harry and his apprentice. I think it's got some structurally interesting stuff around a flashback that I very much enjoyed. And Harry has, I'll describe it as an imaginary friend. And I think there's some scenes with said imaginary friend that I would describe as really beautiful storytelling. So I'm always back and forth between, I would put it, so the thing is, I like Proven Guilty more than I like White Knight, but I like White Knight slightly less than I like Death Masks. But I think on my book lists, they're like literally right next to each other. So
yeah, the White Knight's a tough one. It's a strange one. It's one that like I might turn to occasionally for the audiobook if I'm like a little bit like staying up late and a little bit like insomnia, can't get to sleep. I might throw that book on and it helps me get to sleep. Like especially
what are we talking about, Ben? I'm kicking you off the stream. What is this? I'm kicking
like
I'm doing the rest of this by myself.
Like the earlier parts is
Ben doesn't get to talk about the peak books. The
mystery is getting set up with these different like murder cases, and it's a fairly slow start. And if I feel like on reread it works less for me, knowing how these mystery plots play out. But first read I liked it a good amount, and it's definitely not my favorite, but it does have some impactful sequences, and really love the ending sequence, so I'm good with it. I'd probably put it below Proven Guilty, but I'm fine with it there.
Oh, I like Proven Guilty more, so I'm good. I just like Proven Guilty more. Like Proven Guilty's just down here because I would have Proven Guilty like above Mountains, maybe above Shards, in between Mountains of Mourning and Shards of Honor. But I'm very happy to put it below Proven Guilty. Okay, so now you get to talk about Boards of Infinity, but make sure you start in the middle of your thoughts in Boards of Infinity and then only explain the start of your thoughts after, because this novel is about as in media res or novella as about as in media res as any novella has ever been. So tell me your thoughts for Boards of Infinity, but start mid-paragraph, mid-sentence.
I'm not as talented as Bejeweled with in medias res. I don't even know how to do that. She did it spectacularly. I was gripped from the moment this started until the ending. High stakes throughout. You're not exactly sure what's going on in the beginning, and you start to realize what's going on. You're just being drawn more and more into the situation. I think Bejeweled was reaching for something a little bit extra here, being like just a little extra literary, or I don't know. There's a little extra something in the recipe she was throwing in here. It made it feel a little elevated, and like I think this won some awards. Maybe Mountains of Mourning won some awards for like Hugo Best Novella. I think this won some awards too, right? But I think she was cooking here with a little novella that is on the borders of perfection for me.
Yeah, I love Boards of Infinity. I actually note, if you look here, I just like everyone to prepare. See this all-time favorite section? See how it's empty? It's not going to be empty for long. So I don't think Boards of Infinity quite gets into all-time favorite for me, but I think it's amazing. I think it's thematically really interesting in terms of like it has this stuff where like this where he is technically not war crimes. And it's kind of really interesting that it's like, this is what you can do without doing war crimes. And I just really like that. It does this great thing of like, you don't know how much trouble Miles is in because you don't know why he's in this situation that seems really, really bad. And you're kind of like, is it part of the plan? And I'm not going to tell you if it's part of the plan, but it has such an element of tension because like you're even tense about the amount of tension that you should be having. And you kind of go back and forth, and like every once in a while, it's like you get paranoid. It's like, should I actually just be panicking? Like, it has a scene trying to catch someone that ripples in Miles's head for like years to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angela's
Yeah.
referring to that there in
I
her
like,
comment.
yeah, and it's like I
And
liked it more in hindsight, and I really, really liked it when I first read it.
yeah, I found it so immersive. Like I felt like I was there in the situation, like living it moment to moment, and just the tension was off the charts.
So my
And
question for you, Ben, is this: Borders of Infinity or Deadbeat?
I mean, it is tough comparing a novella to Deadbeat. Oh boy, I might go Deadbeat on top.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I like it more than Barrier. It's
Yeah.
it's my favorite Vorkosigan thing. I could maybe get it above Deadbeat, like it's close. So now, Ben, it is your opportunity to talk about Small Favor by Jim Butcher.
Well, I have this is book 10 of Dresden Files. You give me another multiple of 5.
You might get Skin Game. No, there's gonna be Side Job. Let's see. So you're gonna get Small Favor changes. You're gonna get Skin Game too, you bastard. All right.
You're giving me another multiple of 5. This one on first read, it kind of stood out, and I just immediately fell in love with the plot. The action scenes are so tense. We're back with some good friends like Michael, Denarians. Like I think I reread this one pretty quickly after reading it the first time. I just loved it so much, and it works wonderful on reread. Like this is just like fast paced, amazing kind of standalone plot with ripple effects going forward, just like we're talking about Borders of Infinity. Man, I love this one to death, but it's probably above Deadbeat for me, maybe top of Amazing.
Yeah, this is pretty definitively my favorite of all the novels that we have gotten to so far. I think it's wildly good. It has one of the best antagonists I have ever read about. It has some of the best like dialogue scenes between the protagonist and that antagonist. It has one of the most insane escalation plot twists that I've ever read. It's got eldest fucking gruff. It has a scene where Harry starts a meeting with people and says, so here's the situation. We are greased up, tied down, and they're about to ram one of those Japanese bullet trains right up our collective asses. And it's like, okay, that accurately describes the situation. Oh, it's so good. And then the final act, Ben, the final act. Oh, world building. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It sets up so much.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite book of any of the books we've gotten to.
Fair.
But we haven't gotten to Brothers in Arms. Oh, Brother in Arms is really fucking good. So Brother in Arms, we go to Earth and introduces is some of the funniest scenes in all of Vorkosigan. It has, I think, one of the most exciting final acts. I think Dresden has a pretty distinct advantage in how exciting the final acts are. Brother in Arms has a pretty damn exciting final act. Oh, it's really good. I think I like Small Favor more, but
I mean that's a tough comparison. They're very comparable, I think, in the kind of books they are and where they are in the series too. Kind of this like middle area of the series where it kind of feels like the stakes are just raised in a new way and set things up for all the intense stuff going forward. Man, Brothers in Arms, I think easily became my favorite of the Miles focused books. I love how Bujold kind of moves around her galaxy, and we spend time in different books and different planets and space station and different cultures, and like seeing what like this future Earth is like in this world, like that was fascinating. But for spoiler reasons that we can't talk about, the plot stakes and the character arc and journey for Miles just it goes to 11 here and kind of stays there for a while. But like this book is what kind of raises all of the stakes for Miles and brings an element to the series that I felt like the Miles books were maybe missing before.
And it has more Ivan.
Plenty of Ivan, like the mystery, the plot twists, the tension in the towards like the as we fall tumbling down towards the ending. like we're so high and so suspenseful. I loved everything about this. It's really tough to compare it actually to Small Favor. I'd probably put it above Small Favor though. I mean, this is veering into all-time favorite territory, but amazing. It feels amazing. Maybe top of amazing for me.
So I would probably have it second, but if you would have, I think you even had this above Mirror Dance on your top of book list. I would do want to mention, like, it is totally wild. Like, the series should just be bad because of the order it was written in. Like, there should just be plot holes, and like there should just be stuff that doesn't make sense. There should be character development that doesn't make sense, and it just isn't. And it's just wild that isn't. So I can, as a compromise, I like Small Favor more than Brother in Arms, but I'm willing to put Brother in Arms above Small Favor if that is what you're feeling, because I would have it here.
Yeah.
And if you would maybe have it here, I think it's fair to put it here. So Turncoat, guess what? Hey, remember when this list was just all Vorkosigan books and then all Dresden books, and some of the Dresden fans who hadn't read Vorkosigan were kind of like, hey, this kind of sucks. Like, we're just getting dumped on here. Oh, not with Turncoat. Oh, Turncoat. Just so good. I reread this pretty recently. For my 12 months reread, I just started with Small Favor. I was just like, Small Favor? We don't even need the previous books. Some of them are pretty damn good. And I 70% of the way in was like, I might like Turncoat and Small Favor have swapped for me approximately 8 times. I think I like Small Favor more, but they are neck and neck.
Yeah.
Turncoat, some of the thing I talked about earlier, where Jim takes like a character who you thought was shallow.
Yes.
And like, kind of, it's like, yeah, that was actually your perspective on them, but he's still like, he changes your mind on a character without changing who the character is. Like, you know, some of the characters who it's famous for, it's like you change your opinion on, like Jaime Lannister. But like, he changes a lot. The person whose mind you change is 100 and something years old, and it's like reasonably static. Like, he actually doesn't develop very much, but your entire perspective on him flips. This book also has one of the most like intimidating, pure evil antagonists. Harry's a little smarter in it, which, like, Harry is still less smart than Miles is on one of his dumbest days, but he has a very clever plan here that's very satisfying. The final act is also crazy. I think the final act of Small Favor is slightly more crazy. I would put it here.
I wouldn't argue with you. It's definitely above Small Favor for me. It's firing on all cylinders. This is the point in the series where I just fell in full-blown love, and like from the beginning of this book and what it sets up and the insane tension, the new perspectives we're getting on the side character, like you mentioned, the even moments of humor. Like, every time Harry comes back to his apartment, there's this new tableau waiting for him. Like, I go crazy for those moments and those scenes. And we get expansion of world building that's super cool, of like seeing inside the doings of the White Council, really for the first time, in terms of like the headquarters area. Like, everything here working for me. Outstanding, incredible middle series book.
So you said you'd have it ahead of Small Favor, and for me, it's a coin flip. How do you feel about Turncoat versus Brother in Arms?
I mean, I think it's above for me.
You'd have it above Brother in Arms? Okay.
Yeah,
I like it more than Brother in Arms.
I love Turncoat.
It's so good. Turncoat, man, it's so good.
It's so fast paced. It has like a great self-contained plot, but also so tied into the longer term arcs. And I think he was just cooking with gas.
All right, we have a new leader in the clubhouse with Turncoat. But oh look, the next 2 books are Mirror Dance and Changes. You get to talk about Mirror. All right.
Okay, this is the weirdest. This is the weirdest reading experience though of all of them, because I did not have like a clean reading experience of it, because I, for some reason, decided to start this when I was really busy with work, and then Dragonsteel was coming up, and I got so little reading done at Dragonsteel, and it I went a bunch of days in the middle of this without reading it, and so it was like not the ideal reading situation for this, and I need to go back and give it like a dedicated, fully focused reread.
Basically, are we just vetoing you on Mirror Dance, and I just get to place it?
Yes, but I would say it's clearly like incredible and raises the stakes even more than Brothers in Arms did, and takes the series to just heights of character arc where
Is your perspective basically like, I did not give this a fair chance, it's probably way better than I think it is, I'd have it like here?
I mean, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I will be placing Mirror Dance. Mirror Dance, welcome to the all-time favorite category. You are one of the best books I have ever read. I believe Mirror Dance once got like referenced in a scientific paper about dissociative identity, which is wild. Mirror Dance made me truly contemplate how much of my own moral beliefs come from who I am intrinsically as a person compared to my environment. And at the same time, holy shit, it had me stressed. Like, I think my heart rate, just like, I think if a doctor was aware of what was happening to me while reading Mirror Dance, they might have, like, if I went for a routine checkup while I was reading Mirror Dance, they'd be like, you have the cardiac health of a 127-year-old. How are you still alive?
Yeah, like, this book is insanely gritty and dark, and like a lot of Vorkosigan actually leans towards like a lighter tone and atmosphere and more fun, a little bit more comedic. Like, this is so intense. I mean, and
this
dark
is
and gritty.
I think it's the darkest one. I think it's kind of the changes of Vorkosigan. Like, it's also double the length of all the previous ones, which was why I didn't know that, because it was on Kobo. So
it is huge.
And I got
you're stealing my thunder. I'm gonna say the next book is the changes of Vorkosigan, but okay.
The thing is, the next changes is not just the one that changes everything. It's also the most like big in scale.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that. So I feel like when Jim was writing changes, he was like, "This is my Mirror Dance," and I'm hoping 12 months is him being like, "This is my memory," because it seems like structurally.
That's interesting. Okay, I definitely have a different take
because I don't think Jim has written a memory. Like, I just don't think he's done.
Yeah,
we'll get to memory. Memory is also what he's in.
This one is so intense. It's just this huge shakeup in the middle of the series that if you like insanely intense,
we will tell you about the changes soon.
Like insanely intense dramatic books, then I need to go back and on my reread. This is the one I'm most looking forward to. I'm just like being able to give it a dedicated, fully focused reread, because this was such a shame that out of all of like the books that I could have had this disjointed reading experience with, like, what a shame that happened for Mirror Dance. Poor timing.
Also, I don't talk the stress, just the character writing. Character development is so good. It's so good.
The theme too, like of the title and the way that title comes in. I love when authors actually bring in the title like towards the end of a book and make that really like shine in kind of a moment, or with certain themes, and that was done so beautifully in this book. And like the ending with Chef's Kiss, it was unbelievable.
So speaking of unbelievable endings, Ben, it is actually still your turn. The next novel, some novel called Changes. Can you?
Okay. I mean,
anything happened in Changes? Can we just save time and put it at the top of all-time favorite?
Changes is indeed an all-time favorite book of mine. It is one of the hardest hitting first reads of my life, rereads of my life. From the first page, people are just insanely engrossed, stressed out, drawn in, and it is a sequence of events that, I mean, to have the impact it does, it wouldn't work as well as the first book in a series or a standalone. Like,
would you say
we spent so much time
for like the highest emotional stakes you've ever felt while reading a novel?
Yes, very much in contention. Like, and it's due to the great setup of all of these books leading up to it, but that the pressures and the kind of like things that Harry's up against and facing, and the decisions he has to make here, like, have such insanely high emotional stakes that like every moment, every sequence is just as like the dial's turned up as high as it can go. Stress meter is off the charts. The awesome meter is off the charts. And I love a giant climactic action sequence involving high stakes magical battles. And this has one of the most gloriously epic climactic sequences. Insane, emotional, and you're wrung out by the end. I love this kind of just book that rings you out like that. Yeah, it's one of my all-time faves.
My turn to monologue about changes. So changes. 12 books or 11 books of setup went into changes. And you know, you can have 11 books of setup and you can be like, what if I throw my character at peak emotional stakes, peak stress, peak character tension, and you can screw it up. And oh my God, Jim, he set it up so it was hard and he hit home run after home run after home run. It's so good. It's one of the best paced novels that I've ever read. It is one of the best final action climaxes that I've ever read. It's completely fucking bonkers. It's just like what is going on inside Harry's head is so visceral, and the resolution is so ridiculously impactful. Like, you can literally ask a Dresden fan how you reacted to those 4 lines. Like, you know, you think to yourself, how many books have 4 lines? All of the books. And yet, if you ask me if you just say like, hey, Jake, quiz, what are those 4 lines? I'm like, those are the 4 lines at the end of chapter 48 of Changes by Jim Butcher, the 12th novel in the Dresden Files. Oh, yeah, it's all-time favorite.
It's incredible. It lives up to the hype, and like everyone hypes it up, and then it still beats everyone's expectations.
It's like
when
one
they
of
get
those
to it. Like,
ridiculously hyped novels ever, and still people read it and are like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's special, and I love like even like the B plot that kind of ties in along the way, and there's no weaknesses in it. There's like no holes I can poke. It also just I love, and I'll talk about this with memory too, but like it truly sets the trajectory of the rest of the series in like a completely new way, and forces the main character to, you know, I mean, the title here is right on the nose. There's so many changes that he's undergoing in his life here, and you know, things that are imposed on him, decisions he's making. It is an incredible kind of restart for the series to shake things up, to set things in a new, interesting direction. So just for a long running series, like to keep things fresh and interesting, like this is exactly what we needed.
All right. Remember, everyone, when the all-time favorite section was empty for quite a while? Memory by Louis McMaster Bujold. So this novel is really, really, really good. I'm gonna. Do you like it more than Mirror Dance?
Going up to the top for me.
Do you like it more than Mirror Dance?
I mean, I do.
Yeah. Like, do you like it more than Changes?
Yeah. No.
Okay, so cool. I can put it in the spot. I think I might prefer Mirror Dance, but they're so close. It's a coin flip. Okay, so Memory is on paper like it's a much quieter novel, but it has one of the best one-book character arcs in terms of just like character development that I think you could ever read about. It does such a good job of changing the trajectory of the story. It has such a sense of like, you feel like Miles is going through such a time of almost like so Miles's expression is forward momentum. He's like, someone asked him in like his first book, like, you know, how are you not afraid? And he says, I've just got forward momentum. It's a balancing act. There's no virtue to it. And Memory is like, all right, forward momentum, man, stop. And he's like, all right, I need to not fall on my face. And it's unbelievably well written. All right, tell us about Memory, Ben.
I mean, this was, it just hit me like an emotional freight train. This whole story for Miles, for the side character that features prominently, and the way she also integrates in just kind of all these side characters that are returning from all the books is incredible. But this to me actually is the changes, and Angela hasn't even read changes, but she thought that there was a comment where she thought like that memory was like the changes of Vorkosigan, and I really did feel that parallel after I'd read it, because it feels to me like this is where Miles' life trajectory is being drastically altered, and he has to figure out a new way to go forward.
I guess, and it's almost one of the things that makes changes so good is it's kind of Mirror Dance and Memory at the same time. It's kind of like Mirror Dance is the like peak stakes in terms of like events and like character tension, and then Memory is like consequences of the actions, and like, hey, this is gonna like change the trajectory of the main character's life, and changes is like, how about both? Memory also has this weird thing where it's like on paper, you start it and you think it's a slice of life book. And then like every scene is directly plot relevant in a way that, like, I don't think that it is literally plot. At one point, Miles walks home instead of driving because he's like, it's a nice day out. And this is directly plot relevant. Anyway.
No, it's incredible. Like consequences. The plotting in this book is just so tight. The mystery plot is so impactful for the characters. I mean, this is where I think I just fell fully in love with Miles and his character, and was just like no reservations at this point. And I think Angela felt similarly, where it's like this is the point where she could deal with Miles' chaos mode. Like I just love the kind of maturation and new perspectives and just everything here that Miles is going through. It just hit home.
Chaos Miles.
It hit home, and it's a quiet book, but one that just like at this point in the series where you spent so long in this world with the characters, like it just is so emotionally intense. And honestly, that's what I want most of all out of my reading hobby, is I want to have these emotional catharsis moments and to bring emotional intensity to my life, and to care about these books and for them to have impact in my memory and you know my experiences going forward. And so this one just left a huge mark. I can't wait to reread it too. Like this is like,
I'm really excited.
What a beautiful book.
I wanted to reread one scene of Memory like a month ago, and I ended up reading like 4 chapters because I just kept going. Anyway, it's ridiculous. So side jobs, slightly less good. This duo that has been paired up, if there has ever been a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby, it is Memory versus side jobs. So, Jim is a pretty hit and miss short story writer. Now, some of these are really damn good. The Warrior, banger, very good. The first 20% of Aftermath before the plot of Aftermath happens, and it's actually about the aftermath of changes, banger. Day Off, hilarious. It's fine.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Like you said, it's just inconsistent.
Restoration of Faith. What are we doing? Like, there's just some books in here. That's like one that he wrote before he wrote Stormfront and was in like school. There's one that he wrote at 3 a.m. and is like 2 pages long because there was a deadline and he had to include something. It's just not that consistent in terms of quality.
Yeah. Exactly. Good with it there.
That is the one where it's like if everyone were to do what we are doing and tier list these with like the same pairings, this is the one where I'm the most confident everyone, like even if someone was reading this and they were like kind of a Vorkosigan hater and they were like a mega Dresden fan, they'd still probably be like, yeah, let's be real, Memory's better than Side Jobs though. Like, I think if you read those 2 books and you think Side Jobs is better, we're just operating in a different way. Where I'm just like, come on, man. I know you like Dresden more, but like, seriously, it's just not even close. Anyway,
I do think you could reasonably skip Side Jobs in the series.
You can I mean, a lot of people just read a few of them. If you're not a huge Dresden fan, you can either not read it, or you can just ask your Dresden fan friends, like, hey, what are the 3 best ones? You don't even need to read all of Aftermath. Just read like the first 10 pages of Aftermath after you read Changes. That's cool. Yeah, but this is makes the anthology. This makes it's like so they're 5 stars, and then people read them and they're like, okay, about half of it is mid. I'm kind of rating it on average.
Yeah, I mean, if all side jobs was like Warrior, yeah, it'd be a banger. But yeah,
and I mean, some anthologies are like Exhalation,
yeah,
Paper Menagerie. There.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to tell us about Komar?
Ooh, this is exactly what I needed after the more quiet, emotionally intense memory. Like getting back into a slimmer, faster paced galactic mystery intrigue kind of book. Introducing a new kind of dual POV structure for the Miles books. And I think Bujold is just astounding at writing female POVs. And I think that was one of the things I was missing in the long run of the Miles books and, like Falling Free and Ethan of Athos is like, I miss like that female Cordelia POV. One of the main POVs in this book is a new female character who just had me immediately enormously attached. And I was emotionally compelled from the get-go with this character, the situation that Miles found himself in, the mystery on the planet of Komar, seeing this very important planet to the world and the politics of Barrayar was, I think, really nice. And I mean, this is like, I don't think it's one of the ones that will stand out in most people's like Vorkosigan rankings, but I freaking loved it. And it was exactly what I wanted at this time and freshened up the series on the character front too. So I would put it in amazing for me.
Okay. Where in amazing do you want it?
Oh, I mean, I really love Komar. I'd probably put it below Deadbeat.
Okay. So I'm a little lower on Komar. Like, Komar is really good. Don't get me wrong. Komar slaps, especially the second half of Komar. And we start getting more point of views in the second half of Vorkosigan, like post memory. And seeing Miles from other people's point of view is really funny. It was kind of funny the first time. Like, we start off in Ekaterin's point of view, and we see Miles. And I am like, Miles is very, very smart. And he's kind of like investigating stuff. And you're kind of like, oh, what big brain thing is he thinking? And it cuts to Miles, and he's mostly sexually frustrated. So that was funny. It was mostly in his head, him bonking himself and being like, "Go to horny jail, Miles." I like the first half is just a little more like wandery. Man, the second half ripped. Ekaterin is an amazing new addition to the series. Which it like kind of need to be sold on Ekaterin because Ekaterin's a pretty important character for the rest of the series. I don't know if I would have it in an amazing tier. This is probably the one where we have the most disagreement. I'm trying to figure out where I would have it on my own and then average it out. Yeah, I'd probably have it like here. And so you have it here.
Okay, I think top
so
of
either like
good,
here
then.
or here.
Yeah.
How about here?
I think top of damn good is fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what's that at the back of Amazing?
That's Warrior's Apprentice, which you like less than Komar, but I
love
so
I
would have Warrior's Apprentice above Deadbeat on my own.
My tier list would switch those two tiers there, but fair for our average.
Yeah, we're compromising. And also, if you start being like, no, compromise, I'll be like, okay, I'll put stuff where I want it. You can't stop me. I have the most. It really is seeing Miles from other people's perspective. Oh, so good. All right, Ghost Story.
I have to say, I really love this dual tier list because it's fun to kind of switch modes of like
cat two completely separate. I need to get
two separate stories
and put it on my desk so my cat can't sit on the spot where she sits on my keyboard. So we're gonna grab this signed hardcover of Mirror Dance that I found at Worldcon, by the way. Which I thought this was a typo because it was $50 and it's first edition, and I was used to ridiculously expensive ones, and I was like, it's not a typo, and it's like $500 or something. And it's like, no, $50. All right, it's the last book I bought at Worldcon. Anyway, Ghost Story. Yeah. Sorry, you like the dual tier list? I interrupted you there.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun going back and forth between these two stories, and it's like, oh, Ghost Story. Like, is this me that I'm supposed to talk about it? I love Ghost Story, just like Komar was I think the two authors were so amazing at changing the overall feel and style of these mid-series books that are like so intense and then they like will change the style of the next one to back off from that a little bit and be very different. And I loved this as a follow-up to Changes. It is such a different style of Dresden's story. It takes him on an extremely interesting internal arc and emotional arc, and seeing.
I don't think this is true, but it's funny. I don't agree, but I think that's funny.
Weird. I mean, it is very different than the other Dresden books, but I love the like time we spend with some of the side characters here and exploring a whole different part of the world building. And man, I seeing also Dresden from a lot of other characters' eyes that we get to see in this book, and what Dresden, you know, how they think of him and what he means to them. Like, it was really cool. I also like am super invested in the climactic sequence, and it's batshit insane. It's crazy and it's wild, and I'm here for it. And it has this really intense emotional beat that it all kind of leads up to, and that all is just working incredibly for me. I love this book. It's a strange one. There are like one plot with like a teenage boy that I'm not like fully in love with, that I could have maybe done without or done differently. But that's still okay. And it's
the only time I'm going to complain about a character named Fitz in a book is there's a character named Fitz in this book, and I'm like, how dare you stand where he stood? So I mean,
I don't know where to place this yet, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
All right, yeah, you can decide after. So this is the one where, like, when I first read it, I was 14 or 15, and I would have been like, this was boring. And then what happened is I reread it, and I was like, okay, that was pretty damn good. And then I reread it again, and I was like, all right, that was good. And then I was like, read it again, I was like, that was damn good. And then I reread it again, and I was like, holy shit. And I was like, I keep liking this more on reread. If I reread it enough times, will it just become my favorite? Then I reread it again, and it's like, all right. And then I reread it again, and it stayed here. And I'm like, okay, no, there are limits. There are a couple, like, I think, actiony stuff, plotty stuff, where Jim struggles a little bit with. Harry is less able to directly solve problems. And I do think Jim struggles with this. It has one of the best reveals that I've ever read in any series.
Yeah.
Like, if you just made me do my top 5 reveal style plot twists, the series Dresden would definitely get one. I don't know for sure if the ghost story, I think the ghost story one would be the one I would pick.
The way he did it, though, was so elegant.
It's so good.
So creative and elegant, and it it had a lot of build up to this reveal, and you weren't really sure like where this was heading and what.
And so it's like, I know some people, like, I know like Dylan or Baba on the Discord has Ghost Story is his favorite Dresden novel. And I wish I was cool enough to claim that Ghost Story was my favorite Dresden novel. I am sadly not cool or enlightened enough, because I think it's thematically probably the strongest one as well, in terms of like what Jim was having it to say about like how your actions affect those around you, and like how he wrote it, like when he was kind of going through like a dark time psychologically. But I just don't think it's as fun as
it's not. It's definitely not as fun as like Small Favor and Deadbeat, but for emotional impact, I would genuinely have it. I would genuinely have it above Small Favor there in Amazing tier.
So you have it here.
It hits so hard for me. I like the position he's in of some power stripped away. Some power stripped away.
We can not talk about it. Yeah, I know what you mean. But okay, so I'm not putting it above Small Favor, but I'll put it here. Is that an acceptable compromise?
Definitely.
I mean, Borders Infinity is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what's that white one after Ghost Story? Is that Barrier? Okay.
Yeah. And Doug mentioned earlier, these Vorkosigan covers are terrible.
I could put it below Barrier.
Okay. These Vorkosigan cards are terrible. I admit I was lazy and I didn't make this tier list from scratch. I went to the Vorkosigan tier list that already existed and added all the Dresden books. So guess what? You get to talk about skin game and changes first. But I get the civil campaign and then you get the winter fair gifts. So a civil campaign is an absolute delight to read. This is a comedy of manners, Jane Austen style novel that makes me embarrassed that I haven't read Jane Austen and I need to go read Pride and Prejudice because I think this, when I read it, I had it as my third favorite book of the year. And like, I think it's actually second. It keeps getting better in hindsight. This is one where I've gone back and just like read scenes from because of how much of a delight it is.
Touche.
The variation in characterization, so a lot more perspectives, and like every single character is just, they feel like such a distinct person. You know, like when you read a character and you're like, oh, this is like very similar to this previous character, but like with a different twist on it. Everyone here, wholly unique. Miles, unlike anyone else. Ekaterin, unlike anyone else. Mark, unlike, like every perspective. I'm like, this is, they're so complicated and so distinct from everyone else. The plot comes together so beautifully. It's also like, there's moments where I'm like horrified and I'm like, oh no, and I'm panicking, but also I'm cackling like a madman at 3 a.m. because how does she come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
It might be an all-time favorite.
Easily for me.
We are putting it like an all-time favorite. Do you want it above Mirror Dance?
I wouldn't even say I had a hard time placing it. Like, it was clear that this was the best time I had with any Vorkosigan
above
book.
Memory.
Yeah, like
above Changes.
That's the hard decision point here. That's how much I love this. I loved it that much that it would actually cause me to think where if I would place it above Bullet Changes. Every second this was great. It was emotionally high stakes while also being this lighter comedy, and there's some like, you know, entrepreneurial, trying to start up a kind of bug business that I got super wrapped up in how that would turn out. There's like all these kind of intersecting plots that I cared so much how they played out because of the setup of all these books before and all the character work that she laid the groundwork for in previous books. So it has that benefit of being this late series book of so much leading into it. But I mean, that's the glory of these long series of Changes, of Civil Campaign, of Memory. I, like you, feel like I need to go read her influences for this, like some weird Jane Austen and other authors that she mentioned that were her influence for this, because this kind of like novel of manners of like, you know, you're in the social scene of like the nobility, and there are these big dinner party scenes and just like chaos ensues, and just like what people are saying around the table is like so high stakes for everyone. It's like,
I mean, I see reviews of this that basically calls it Pride and Prejudice in space, but it's not actually in space. It's just on a different planet. So that just makes it Pride and Prejudice.
It's not a very Earth-like planet, honestly.
Yeah.
And so it's like the least sci-fi book of the entire series by far.
And I think from a straight character writing perspective, like I think Memory is the best Miles book from a character writing perspective. But from a just being like, hey, this is like if you want it to be the book where I'm like, all right, I'm going to make the case that Louis Bujold is the second best character writer that I've ever read. Sorry, Robin Hobb. This is the one where I'm like, yeah, see what she does here. Okay, I'm leaving it below Memory.
She had a character write a letter, like a handwritten letter to someone, and that's actually, it might have drawn like actual tears from me reading that letter. Like, it was so well done, emotionally impactful, elegant, and the character beat that it encompassed, like that is the most, maybe out of the whole series, the most emotionally hard-hitting thing that like touched me deeply. So like, I would probably put this right at the top for me for Vorkosigan, maybe under changes, but
so I do think I like Mirror Dance and Memory more.
Yeah,
but I'm leaving it here. But I do think as the top tier, like this feels right. Like these four feel like the outliers that we've gotten to so far that are like, yeah, these belong in all-time favorite. Cool. So now it is your turn to talk first. And you get no, it's still me. It's for the Dresden book. So speaking of books that absolutely rip, Cold Days by Jim Butcher. So this book is really fucking good too.
These two authors were just on a freaking roll.
Oh yeah.
This point.
Oh yeah. Like books like 10 through 15. Oh, they were cooking. Yeah, okay, that's fair. You got the Civil Campaign. There's not going to be any other Vorkosigan book in all-time favorite for this. So you're not missing any Vorkosigan. You will miss a couple more Dresden gushes because I got a couple more Dresden books that I
have plenty of Vorkosigan gushes to come too.
I mean, there's still gushes, but there's there's gushes and there's gushes.
Night, Angela.
Thank you for coming along. I don't know if most of the audience is enjoying this format of video or if like most of them, other than like Doug, care about one of these series and are just like bored scrolling through their phone while we talk about one series. But I'm having a lot of fun. And frankly, I'm the protagonist to me, so I care more about that. So Cold Days has two of the best world building reveals. Like, in terms of just insanity, so Battleground and Changes are the most insane. But in terms of insanity, Cold Days is the third most insane book on this list. It reframes entire long-term plots in the Dresden Files. It has the line that lives rent-free in my head of a Nagloshi. That's a fucking Nagloshi. And you realize what something is. It's not a Nagloshi. And it's mind-blowing. It has more Rashid. And as I mentioned for Proven Guilty and forgot to mention for Turncoat, Rashid is the GOAT. Per line for both these series, Rashid is the GOAT. You don't want to know what I would do for a Rashid point of view short story. Like, we'll never get it. Because he knows too much for sure.
Yeah,
but like
I think Jim could play coy with a Rashid POV.
Yeah, Jim, just finish the series and then give us a Rashid short story that like answers a bunch of shit and is Rashid. Oh, it's so good.
This book just slaps like from beginning to end. Like it's like you never know what you're gonna get. It just goes from insane scene.
Yeah, and then the final act is crazy. It's crazy. So that being said, I'm going to put this at the very tippy top of amazing.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I love just how creative and
this is the now we know we've established the standard for all-time favorite because that was a pretty damn positive like monologue. Okay, Kat, you have been fed the correct number of times relative to what time it is, okay? Your next meal is in like 2 hours.
Oh.
Tell the people that you're lying and you're claiming starvation.
Look at her little paws.
Okay. Cold Days.
No, Cold Days slaps. I have no weaknesses for it. The world building expansion, lore drops, the antagonists, action sequences, plot twists.
I forgot to mention. My second favorite character in the entire Dresden Files is not introduced here, but they have an exponential growth in how good they are. And that exponential growth starts to, you're like, oh, this is an exponential at this novel.
Yeah. Also, one of the most stunning like endings that just leaves you with the jaw dropped onto the floor.
Yeah. So winter fair gifts.
Man, compared to Cold Days,
the tier list divot and the tier. This reminds me of when I had memory and side jobs. But I think Memory is better than Cold Days, and Winter Fair Gifts is better than Saga. Anyway, Winter Fair Gifts.
Winter Fair Gifts. This is a little delightful morsel of a novella. Like, it might even be a short for a novella, but we get a POV from a very, very side character that I just kind of immediately just was drawn into and fell in love with. And it's like a bodyguard character for Miles, and it's a heartwarming little arc that we go on, and it's a fun follow-up to Civil Campaign. Yeah, I thought it was like it's just like a crowd pleaser for the fans, and like a nice little warm holiday style story. So I liked it a lot. It's short, not terribly impactful, but I thought it was pretty good.
All right, so good or just like
probably good. Yeah, maybe above Labyrinth for me. I liked it a little more.
I'm cool with that. I feel like if we talk about this, then we could have at some point, like, we could have just narrated the entire story because how short it is. So, so you got Winter Fair Gifts instead of Civil Campaign, and that's tough. But you got Skin Game. So, do you have anything to say about Skin Game, or is it just not a very noteworthy novel?
No, this is where Jim lost the plot. He fell off a cliff, jumped the shark. No. He was on the roll of a lifetime in this stretch of books, from Small Favor on up. Like it just never, his awesomeness just never let up. Like, Skin Game rips. I love how it's like a return to a little bit more of a self-contained plot and intrigue story, and we haven't really had anything like this of a heist story, but it's I'm also, I keep on getting these multiples of 5s for books in the series. This is book 15, and it ends in 5 or 0, and that means the Denarians are coming, and they are once again they chewing up the scenery, absolutely crackling on the page. The way that Harry is forced into interacting with them here, just always a delight. Every scene with them, and man, more of certain beloved side characters, incredible lore drops, credible plot twists. What like
and
the
like
entire
one of the best chapters in the entire series, which is mostly just all dialogue, but it's wildly incredibly good, and everyone cries while reading it.
And like the ending sequences is not just like one climactic sequence, it's like this series of climactic sequences.
We had one climax,
it never lets up in how awesome it is, and they'll say you're holding on to the edge of your seat, and it's like this insane roller coaster ride that pays off so intensely at the end. And oh my god, this is just another crowd pleaser. Like, everyone loves this book. It's awesome. I would probably put it top of amazing for me right now.
All right,
but verging on maybe S tier.
So I am going to put it. I'm going to average it out, and I'm going to put it in all-time favorite. I think this is one of the novels that for me is all-time favorite. Skin Game is just like, it doesn't have lows. If you're like, what's the worst scene in Skin Game? And you're like, oh, that was a pretty fucking good scene. And then the highs are ridiculous, where I can't talk about what happens in the chapter that is the best chapter because it's just incredibly spoily. This also has one of the wildest plot twists ever that I'm literally going to Discord message to you because it just can't be described in a way that's not spoiling. But it's just like, this is too cool plot twist to line.
I mean, there's
I'm talking about I'm talking about that one. But also, I'm sure everyone is having fun watching me Discord message you things. This one I can say, game over, man. Game over. Oh,
there's a bunch of really fun quotable lines. So here,
I think Skin Game is the most impressively written Dresden Files novel, and the reason I say that is there's two I like more, but they both have the benefit of complete insanity. Skin Game is mostly a normal Dresden Files. Like, the thing that sets it apart is not that it's paying off 11 books. The thing that sets it apart is just being better.
Yeah.
So, for being better than, like, almost everything I've read, it gets to be an all-time favorite.
Yep.
My turn. Diplomatic Immunity. So, Diplomatic Immunity goes back to a character that we've met before. It's not like a super standout Vorkosigan novel to me, but it's like solidly really good. We get to see Miles. He has a less chaotic life now. He's got a little more concerns, but he gets to be a little more chaotic near the end here, which was super fun. There's just a scene where like Miles is trying to figure stuff out, and there's a scene like where he just gets enough information to figure everything out, and he starts skipping steps out loud and telling people to do something, and it's really funny now that we have more experience seeing Miles from other people's perspective. My instinct is to put it somewhere in like damn good, but high damn good.
This is like a really solid kind of standalone intrigue, you know.
It feels like it belongs like Death Masks, Proven Guilty, Mountains of Mourning, Shards of Honor range.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I mean, it's solid with what it's doing. I don't have any weaknesses on it. Yeah, maybe below Death Mask for me, but like so. I'm conflicted
really put it because I like Proven Guilty more than this novel, but then I like this novel more than all these novels. You know what? Screw you. I'm moving Proven Guilty up.
Yeah.
And I'm moving this here. Because I think Proven Guilty, I average too much.
This is just like, I think Bujold is just such a mature writer at this point, and where Miles is in his overall growth and character arc, like him involved in this political intrigue, mystery plot with his current kind of responsibilities and position and maturation level. It's like, it's such an interesting window to see like how he's different and similar to how he was like in this kind of situation from earlier books.
Like, it's like threatening me. It's just like, I might hit you. She's just like, I might hit you. I'm thinking about it. I want you to know that I'm considering violence. Okay, there we go. We got the head back. She wants next. Okay.
No, I really like it, but it's not one that leaves like a huge impact, but like one that I was very happy to read and read very quickly. Like just solid Vorkosigan book.
Yeah. All right. Briefcases. It's better than Side Jobs. It has Zoo Day, but it's more consistent, and it just has less that are like below average, but it's still worse than every Dresden.
I'm really not a big fan of the 3 Bigfoot stories.
You're actually a hater. Those are fun.
But Zoo Day is like a top tier Dresden story for me. So it's a mixed bag. I'm
moving it up there because you are a hater of the Bigfoot ones and deserve to watch me move it up. You get to talk about this one. You love this is a good novel for you to talk about. Captain Vorpatryl's Alliance.
Ooh.
Ivan. I love that man.
Ooh.
Is Ivan the best? Like he's almost, he's like such an everyman character, but also so just like unlike anyone I've read. Where it's
that's a great way to put it.
All right, tell us about the everyman.
It was a delight. Like we get a complete POV shift away from Miles here, and his cousin takes center stage for the first time in the series. He's just been kind of the side character this whole time, and it is we enter in, and it's this high stakes plot, and there's really interesting, fun character stuff going on in the beginning. And man, I was just so drawn into this POV and where it goes. In like we definitely like have multiple settings here, things shift, and like it was so unpredictable, and I was so rooting for a couple of these main characters, and like I was just so invested. Like it was just fun, tense, suspenseful. It was a great time. It like I don't think it's a top tier Vorkosigan book, but it was so solid. I just loved it at this point. Like it really changed things up, was fresh, and I don't know. I'm so happy that this exists. It's
it's kind of weird because at the 30% mark, I was like, how am I not 80% done the novel? Like it feels like things are about wrapped up. And then it introduces the real antagonist, which is crazy in-laws.
And
so I'm kind of similar. So just like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's in the same pile the diplomatic community is in. Where do you want me to put it? I'll put it anywhere here. I'm happy with it anywhere in this range.
I really love it. I mean, I'm good above Mountains of Mourning. Or wait, what's that blue one at the top of Damn Good?
Komar. which I know you really love.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, this was so much fun. I could go anywhere. It depends where you want it there.
I'll put it in between Shards of Honor and Komar. Why not?
Yeah.
So now, peace talks.
This me or you?
This is still you. It's Vorkosigan
Oh,
and then
man.
Dresden. I get to be Battleground.
Man, Peace Talks is such a strange one in the series.
Actually, guess what? We're going to get even more of a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Look at the next two.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, Peace Talks was a very weird experience reading on release because I knew it was like part one of this larger plot that he had to split up into 2 books. And it set something up so explosive at the end that I know it was like they set up so only 3 months between releases, but that was like the most painful 3 months I like ever had to endure for the next installment of a series. Like Peace Talks worked better for me actually on reread when I could just read them together, and I was less mad at it. But I really like it. It's like weird and strange, and is not like a perfect book, and it does have strange like pacing and but like some of the situations were so tense, and where Harry is in his life and character arc like is just so compelling at this point that even in the beginning like slice of life moments like I just love those, ate those up, and when like crazy stuff starts to happen like I'm just all in on that. So it's strange one.
Yeah,
we're
agreeing a lot. We've agreed a lot for this tier list. There hasn't been a lot that we have to fight about.
I really like it. I don't know where to put it though, because it's like so weird as part one of this. But
okay, I'll just place it because you said things that I feel like I agree with. It's also weird because of the for years Jim kept being like Peace Talks I think might be like the most supernaturally violent because he was obviously talking about the Confined novel. So then I think a bunch of people went into it expecting it to be the biggest one, and it's just lower stakes than some of the previous ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a normal Dresden novel where instead of getting like a 6-month gap between Turncoat and changes just starts 2/3 of the way into Turncoat. I quite enjoy it. It was the most crazy overreaction on a book release that I've seen in my life, where people were like saying it was worse than Full Moon, and that we were gonna have to like. Someone was arguing that we were gonna have to like warn Dresden fans that they're gonna have to like slog through Peace Talks the same way you have to warn people about Crossroads of Twilight for Wheel of Time.
It's a fast-paced, like
it's a good novel.
Like it's like
there's like the Corner Hounds fight that's sick as fuck.
The whole like kind of like I don't want to say stuff.
I think it's really good.
The action-y sequences, like the problem solving that they do, like there's a fun humor element with the what do they call it? The like magical cold that Harry has. Like I like those bits.
Do we want to put it like here? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay, Peace Talks. So it's my turn, and first up is Coughing Baby. So Louis Bujold, meet the Fine Tier. This is a novella. It's one of the novellas that exists. I'm not gonna lie. It's got Miles and a Caterin. So like those scenes are good because they're awesome. I don't give a shit about the plot of this novel.
No,
it just like has characters I really like.
Yeah.
So it's like enjoyable because Louis Bujold
Enrique. I really liked Enrique here. Actually, this is
he's great. Like it's just like it has characters I really like. So like I enjoy reading it.
I feel like this is like she's returning to the same thematic well as like Mountains of Mourning.
Yeah,
but with like it actually, way less impact and
it actually kind of has the same problem even more where like it feels at the end like she wants me to feel sorry for like the person who definitely is a psychopath attempted murderer who I'm sorry. Like they're just bad. No.
Yeah. But the overall plot of this one just wasn't compelling. And I think it's the weakest thing in the series also.
Yeah.
And it would
pretty come from margin for me.
I'd actually put it below Stormfront myself.
Okay. For me, they were close.
Better.
They're pretty close. I'm happy to do that. Okay. So Battle Crown. It's a little bit better than Flowers of Lashnoy. So Battleground is one of the most completely ridiculously insane novels that I have ever read. And I am putting it is my second favorite novel on this
Let's
list.
go. Up to the top. Up to the top.
This is like, sometimes people seem to think that there's a dichotomy between like how much action is in a book and how much like characterization is in a book.
Yeah.
And Battleground is just like, it proves there is no compromise, because it just takes both meters, and it's like how you adjust both meters, like how much good action. Crank up to 1,000. Actually break the crank. Put it above it went. Give it 110%, Captain. And then character, it does the same thing. The character that I mentioned, my second favorite character, my favorite of the non-Miles and Harry, ridiculous characterization, like completely. I have an entire like page inner monologue of Harry on my phone, just that I just read sometimes. Yeah, this is valid. Like, I think also, I just think on a line by line basis, the prose in Battleground is just better. Like, just when you read Battleground, you just notice, like, damn, the way that was written, like the rhythm of the words was just really, like, I actually think it's a pretty, for a line by line standpoint in terms of like prose, I actually think it's pretty drastically ahead of every other Dresden book.
Yeah, it's elevated. He elevated. He was writing on a different plane with this one. Like,
you mentioned like the 3-month wait. It was torture. I went to get this fit. So when I ordered Peace Talks to be pre-ordered from like Amazon, and it didn't arrive until like 2 p.m. And I was pissed about that because I booked the day off work to read it in a day. So I just like drove to the bookstore in the morning on the day Battleground came out. And the person who opened this Indigo was like, before I let you in, I want to tell you about like this like loyalty card. And I'm like, bitch, I don't care. That is the most impatient. I'm a pretty patient person. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but just like objectively, I think I'm a pretty patient person. I was not a patient person getting Battleground and driving home. That was the least patient of a driver I've ever been. Like, that is the closest I've ever been to just like honking my horn at people and being like, fucking move. And oh my God, did it deliver.
Yeah, I think I read this first, like just in a daze, like in an intense binge. It was one of the most intense reading experiences in my life, and just hard-hitting moment after hard-hitting moment, and everything is so unpredictable. It's so intense. It's like, this is a whole book of this massive magical battle with all these different factions.
And are going to be like the two most different Dresden models, but hopefully
yeah. I loved everything about this. It's incredible, hard-hitting, perfect for what it's doing. I mean, it has some of the more emotionally hard-hitting moments for me in the whole series. Out of both these series, like Harry's banner, the stuff around his bannerman.
I interviewed Jim Butcher, and I literally told him, like, whatever was mental space you were in when you wrote the banner, like, that was really good. And he was like, yeah, I just kind of did that instinctively. Like, I just started writing it, and I was kind of like, I don't really think I planned this, but like the banner makes that entire sequence, like that sequence without the banner would be like, that was sick. And the banner makes it like 14 times. It's like exponentially sick. I
also love the general kind of situation. I really love, and I don't think it gets pulled off very well in many different stories that even attempt this, but it's where like different factions and people who might be antagonists, at other times, but they have to band together and team up to face a greater common foe. Like, that situation is just extremely complex and satisfying in a lot of ways for me, and I think he just pulled that off magnificently here.
Yeah, this is kind of in the same way that like Mirror Dance, like a lot of the series are very similar in a lot of ways. Like Jim is trying to do similar things, and like you see, he was inspired by what Mirror Dance and Memory was good at, and I would guess Jim in his head was trying to accomplish similar things to both those novels when he wrote Changes. But like, there's some of the novels that just don't have the equivalent in the other series. Like, there is not a Dresden civil campaign, and Vorkosigan does not have a battleground.
Yeah.
No other series has a battleground.
Ooh, great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so unique. It's so unique. Yeah.
I like it distinctly more than I like.
And again, one of those books that were like point in favor of these long running series. This would not have nearly the same impact if this were like a book one or a standalone.
No.
Like, it works so well because of all the buildup and groundwork that's been laid over so many thousands of pages. Like, these authors understand the magnificence of the build over a long series. Like, man, there's so many parallels, like you said, between these, but interesting little differences about like these unique books that you get in only one of these series. Battleground is one of those. I'm with you in terms of like impact of these individual books. I mean, it's so different than a civil campaign. I might have a civil campaign over it, but no quibble.
It's funny because they're like the two most different books ever.
Yeah.
So remember when we started off and it was just like all Vorkosigan novels and then all Dresden novels? The comeback it's pretty close. All right, so you get Cryoburn.
Ooh, Cryoburn. Another just cool, like tense, engaging late series. Vorkosigan. Oh yeah, the start. You're right. Like, such a fun in Medias Res start. Like, that is masterfully done. Like, you don't know what the hell Miles is going through in the beginning of this. And the situation he's put in at the beginning is tense, and it leads to a really cool relationship that develops with a child character. And one of the more endearing child characters, like, I don't often love child characters. I thought this one was extremely endearing and complex and well-written and nuanced. And it was like another aspect that kind of freshened up the series at this late stage of like doing something new, of like having a POV of a child character. And loved that. Loved just a completely new corner of the galaxy that we're exploring on this interesting culture of this new planet that we've never been to before. And really interesting thematic stuff going on with all the politics around what happens when you can do these like long-term cryo freezing of people who want to do that voluntarily. Like, she was just a genius about like exploring the kind of socio-political and economic effects of these things. But it's like secondary to just like the fun character drama and mystery intrigue plots. Like, this is just a great overall book. I mean, there's so many solid, great books in both these series that it's hard to kind of like put it so high, but I really liked it. I mean, I'd probably put it in that damn good tier. Oh, you're on mute or something. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, sorry, I accidentally when I coughed. Hey, we have a new commenter. So one thing that I think is interesting for Cryoburn, like, Vorkosigan is a sci-fi series, but it's primarily character and plot driven. This is, I think, one of the ones where it actually stands out, where in terms of like the sci-fi exploration of a technological concept, it holds up really well. And then it's like also written by Bajol, so the plot and character is really, really good. I really, really like Cryoburn. I think I would have it in amazing tier.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
I mean, I might like it better than Ghost Story, so I'm good with amazing.
I'm good to put it here. It's honestly pretty close for me with Barrier. Do you like Barrier more? If you like Barrier more, I'll leave it blind Barrier. I personally think
very close. I'm not sure. I could go with it both. Yeah.
All right, we're putting it there. Love the media res. Love the different point of views. And I think the sci-fi, like, I think this is probably, in terms of like, if you look at sci-fi as an exploration of technological concepts, this is probably like the most strongest from the sci-fi.
Yeah.
Mirror Dance, actually, I guess, would also count as well.
But in terms of just like exploring like hard sci-fi style, like novels about like conceptual novels, like, I think this one is probably the strongest.
This has this without sacrificing, like, while also just being like written better in terms of character and plot than like most things. So,
you know what? I'm happy with it and amazing. It also, like, not only does it have kind of extra POVs like with the child character, but it also, I love getting like switching between Miles and the bodyguard POV.
Yeah, he's so funny.
Like it's such a different internal voice. She's so great with distinctive character voices, and it's like
it's one of those
I
where
love
like,
that character.
It's one of those where I kind of wish she'd written like a multi-perspective epic fantasy, just because if you read her books and you only ever read like 2 of her point of views and you don't get to the late Vorkosigan books, like you don't get to a civil, you don't know how good she is at character writing until you read a civil campaign. Because like the same way you get with like the Abercrombies and like the live ships and like the Song of Ice and Fire, where one of the ways you know the characterization is so good is you read like these multiple different perspectives and like they see the world in such a and they're just written so differently. And you have to wait so long to get that with Bujold. And I mean, for Butcher, you haven't really gotten it. I guess you get it for Sinner Spies. But anyway, yeah, I love Cry. So now you get the Law.
This is funny. I just threw the audiobook of the Law on.
Have you not read it?
Oh no, I read it on release. I did it on release. Jim Butcher actually narrates the audiobook, which is fun. He did a pretty good job. But I haven't reread it until just now. I wanted to reread it. I threw it on at night thinking like, because it's a reread and like, you know, this kind of lower stakes novella, that it would be one that would maybe like help me fall asleep. Even though like nothing crazy is going on in the beginning scenes, like I was so hooked to it in the beginning that I had to turn off and find something else to like help me fall asleep.
So if White Knight helps you fall asleep and the Law is too good for you to fall asleep, does that mean the Law is better than White Knight?
No, but it was just fun. Like it's a solid novella. Like Jim is just so strong with writing Dresden at this late series point that like, yeah, it was just a delight to get this as kind of something to tide us over between the novel releases. I mean, it's nothing crazily impactful, but I'd put it in good category probably.
I think it's damn good.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue.
I think Harry Dresden fights the power of stupidity. I think the antagonist is like just being like so dumb that he becomes a problem. Also, it has a Mab scene, and like that Mab scene is Mab and is therefore better than the scenes in the earlier books that don't have Mab being the goat. I'm gonna put it between Falling Free and War Game.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, so by the way, Dreamweaver's Dilemma is on here, but it's actually
I can rate that though. I know how you would rate that. Also,
nobody cares.
Okay, so
no,
that book is interesting.
Where do you want me to put it? I'll just put it where I actually haven't read it.
So that collection has a whole bunch of stuff. It has like random Bujold like literary fiction short stories that are not even sci-fi and not related to Vorkosigan. It has a few of those. I did not read those. It then has a bunch of like essays in it, like short essays, like either Bujold reflecting on her writing life, how she got into it, one of her oldest friend like writing about her and their relationship and their writing. Those essays are great. Like I would recommend this collection just for the nonfiction stuff. And there's a lot of great gems in there about Bujold and the series and her journey to get published. The story Dreamweaver's Dilemma is actually a Vorkosigan series novella, and it is like way, way, way before any of the others, like way before, like hundreds of years, probably thousands of years, maybe on the timeline before the rest of the series. And like, it was okay. It doesn't feel like a Vorkosigan story in a lot of ways. Like it takes place on like a near future Earth, like a kind of post-apocalyptic Earth. It was okay. It was like, if we're talking about that story, I think Nobody Cares is good, including like some of the nonfiction stuff in there though.
Is it just Dreamweaver's Dilemma the story? Should I just put it in fine? Is it better than Full Moon?
I think that story is better than Full Moon. No, I don't think so.
Okay,
no,
we'll just put it at the bottom. I'll be a hater, even though I haven't read it. Okay, so Gentleman Jolie and the Red Queen, I think it's the one where we maybe most disagree, and it's the last one we're going to talk about. And this one's mine. So Gentleman Jolie is really interesting in that it is structurally almost just a romance novel, but it's a romance novel between a 76-year-old woman and a 50-year-old woman who have already had a, shall we say, unique past history without spoiling anything. So like it's kind of cool that it breaks it gives you the strengths of like the genre conventions, but doing it with characters that you wouldn't associate with those conventions. It does a really good job of taking a character who was really important early on and then kind of has been a background character for like most of the series and is like, yeah, by the way, they had like a life too. Like they weren't just because they weren't in the same rooms as Mal sitting around like twiddling their thumbs playing solitaire. Like they were doing shit. So that's cool. Now, the downside of Gentleman Joy and the Red Queen is that the entire plot is one character who we haven't really met before this making a career decision. And that character, like, I like. He's a good character. He's a well-written character. But it's just like, you know, if we compare the plot of these other books to that one guy making a career decision, it just doesn't hold up to me. So I think it's a good novel. I would put it here.
That's understandable. This is actually one of the ones we disagree on the most. We've been like crazily aligned throughout this entire
actually
process.
It would be more interesting if you disagreed with me more. So this is good.
I found this an extremely suitable coda to the series that brings the whole thing full circle from Shards of Honor in so many ways, including kind of the planet where it takes place, and the new character worked really well. Like I'm at the point in the series where like I'm eating up all these new characters, from the shift to Ivan's POV in Captain Vorpetrol, and then some of the new POVs we get in these late books. Like I was along for the ride and just kind of experiencing these new characters, because I think we didn't need to necessarily be with Miles or other of the big characters at this point. Like they've gone through so much. This was a compelling story that mixed in with one of our main characters, and I don't know, I was brought into the dilemma. Like it's a quiet slice of life book, and in Bujal's hands, it's just like the individual scenes I found just magnetic. Like the internal voice of the character, the dialogue, the setting, world building stuff. Like I found it all just very endearing, and like I didn't want it to end. Like I knew this was the last book, and it felt kind of like last booky. Like, and then when we get like, you know, Miles coming back in, and like I just was eating everything up. Like I didn't want it to end. I was more.
I like the second half quite a bit more. Okay, I have two things. One, a question, just like if you were doing this on your own, what tier would you have it? Like if I wasn't here.
Okay, yeah, this is a really tough one because it's such a quiet, lower stakes plotted book. It's really slice of life. It's like very internal and like, you know, relationship kind of emotional stakes. Like it's really quiet. It's so different than basically.
It's worth noting
every other book.
It's about one guy making a career decision, and it's also one of those where it's like, I'm not that invested in what decision he makes. Like, and when I say it's not that invested, it's not like I'm cheering for him to make one decision. Like, I'm cheering for him to make the decision that feels right to him.
Yeah.
But if he made the other decision, I would have been like, yeah, man.
No,
that's understandable.
I would have said it was understandable. I was actually pretty invested in the decision and it falling out like a certain way. I think I was just overall more invested in that character and that life choice and everything around that character. So for me, this Gentleman Joel and the Red Queen, I would put it. Oh, this is so. I know that you're gonna think this is crazy, but I put it in
Pieces of
damn good.
Okay.
I would put it above. Wait, what are those top three in damn good? I just can't read those titles.
It's Komar, Captain Vorpatrol's Alliance, and Shards of Honor.
Okay, I would put it above Mountains of Mourning.
Okay,
it would be where I would put it in my own tier ranking.
I have I do also have an actual execution criticism where I'm kind of like, I do think there are some scenes where the aforementioned gentleman Joel and the Red Queen are kind of like, hey, remember that time this thing happened that you, the reader, weren't on the screen for? It's like, yes, I do remember that time. And I'm like, isn't it obvious that you remember that time? Am I crazy for thinking that happens a few times?
That probably did, but I actually
they were both there for that.
It didn't, those things didn't like register as like hiccups for me. I was just like immersed in the story.
I'll move it up. What novel am I willing to put this ahead of? I can definitely put it ahead of Setaganda. I can put it ahead of Summer Night. Summer Night. Like, I'm not. So I like the second half of this novel quite a bit more than the first. A quarter of the way in this novel, I was like, "This is kind of boring." And at no point while reading Summer Night did I consider being bored. That being said, this book has miles in it, and Summer Night does not. But Summer Night, I'm sorry, I can't put it ahead of Summer Night.
Yeah. Jorge, I know.
I'm putting it top of good.
Belemris has an apt comment there. Maybe it's our age, career changes resonate. Like, I do think this is very much like a novel written by someone who is like at a late middle-aged stage in life, whose concerns in their own life at that, like, she's writing, I think, for where she is in her life and maybe geared towards like an older audience. And so I do think this book would resonate more for me if I were even older. But I think it might, like, for you, if you read this again in a couple decades, like, it might hit really hard in a way it didn't right now. Like,
but the thing is, like, when it gets to the second half where we're like, okay, this is what the plot is, I actually enjoy it quite a bit. It's just the first bit where it's just it's kind of directionless to start.
She's so good at slice of life. Like, she's so good at compelling internal monologue.
Yeah,
compelling dialogue.
Civil Campaign slice of life, and it's one of my favorite books of all time.
But she's not trying to like have much tension. Like, the most tension we get like in this entire book in terms of like a suspenseful action scene is like a fireworks show that
not like, even in terms of action scene, in terms of just like
goes awry
conflict.
There's
just not very much conflict. Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I have the hot take that stories should have conflict, and I don't think this story has that much conflict.
At this point, though, as like a coda, I was okay with it, like feeling more
it's
cozy.
It's a good final beat. It actually
feeling more cozy and like bringing it full circle.
Yeah,
like I didn't need a lot of tension. Yeah,
is that if there's another book after it, I'll be really happy. But I'll be like, I like this less if it's not the last book. I think it works as a last book quite well.
Yeah. I think this works better as the last book for the series than, the more like engaging, tense Cryoburn. But so this is like a suitable last book, but it doesn't need to like necessarily stand out. But I was happy with it being what it was. Anyway, but understandable that it was.
I can't put it in the same tier as all these books. I can't get myself to do it. Okay, everyone, there it was. I remember from the poll, 11% of you were fans of Vorkosigan and Dresden. One of those people was Doug, who was here and actually was able to enjoy the entire stream. That was a 2-hour and 13-minute stream. I'm really curious for anyone who's watching this after and watched through all 2 hours. First off, thank you. You can now comment below that you are not a fake fan. And we should get people to comment something that confused. Comment below that. Comment below that Polka will never die. If you made it,
I so wanted to say that line when I was talking about did. By the way, could I have a more suitable shirt for these two series?
It's like your name's blocking it. It says, "Don't worry,
I have a plan."
Okay, well, one of them has a plan. Harry's. For Harry, I should have been wearing my I didn't ask how big the room was, I said I cast fireball shirt, because that's more the Harry Dresden way. But anyone who made it this far, thank you. I don't know if the concept of this video made any sense. And this could have just been a Discord call between me and Ben. I'm not going to lie. I almost was just like, hey, do you want to just go on a Discord call and do this tier list? And I turned it into a video. And the people watching made that possible. So I hope the video that
Let's go.
laughs
Let's go.
evilly. So I'm really happy that you guys let me take what could have been a really fun Discord call and made it a video. And I hope it was slightly enjoyable for you to watch. Ben, the timing of this was very good with you. I mean, with us just having very similar opinions about both series and a very similar timeline of reading both series. I don't know what other two series I could ever do this for. Yeah. So, thank you for coming on. If you want to give a final note to the people on what things on this tier list you think are most egregious, and then I'll do the same. And then, you know what? I'm bad at end streams. We don't need to do that. Say goodbye to everyone.
The ending note is, I mean, you all probably have known about Dresden, but less so Vorkosigan. Read Vorkosigan. Give it a shot.
I mean, I have the stats for this. I did a poll. Ready?
Pick up Shards of Honor. Give it a go.
1 sec. I'm gonna go to the results of the poll and we'll see. Because the funny thing, Dresden is newer. Okay, share this tab instead. So Dresden is newer. So more people are following it now. But the funny thing is, Vorkosigan might have more total readers because it's been around for longer. So I think more of the people who are on YouTube are more likely to have read Dresden. And we have this for the poll. We have 31% had read Dresden and not the Vorkosigan fan, or were a fan of Dresden and not the Vorkosigan Saga. 18% were a fan of the Vorkosigan Saga and not Dresden. And 11% of you were a fan of both. That 11%, you are my goats. I appreciate you. Ben, did you see this poll and vote for that? If not, go give it a vote. Maybe we can get 12. How many people are that? 159 people voted in that. So if we do some math, that's going to be 17 people. Oh my God, I accidentally started a YouTube video. That is a Glidus video about a random episode of Game of Thrones. Times 0.11. 17 and a half people. I don't think that's true. So either 17 or 18 of you are a fan of both. And
you rock. Now, if you are in the spot of Dresden of you've read the first few books and you're not sold, keep going through Deadbeat. That's just a taster of what you're gonna get.
Yeah. The alternative, bail out if you don't like the first book you read and you want to read something that's very representative of the series. The bailout is to go to Warrior's Apprentice. But the thing is, Barrier is also really good. If you specifically want to meet Miles before you quit, you can go to Warrior's Apprentice. And for Dresden, you can skip to Deadbeat. Let's go. We got another one. Dresden, it's better to just read them in order. But if you're going to DNF and you want to give it one more book, make that book Deadbeat. All right, we're ending the stream. Thank you for watching, everyone. I had a lot of fun doing this. I'd like to thank Ben for coming on this kind of unhinged idea for a stream.
It was awesome.
You were great as well, chat. And thanks to anyone who's watching this after who got to this point. If you actually are sitting down and watch this, I'd be shocked. I hope you were listening to me in the background. Have a good day.
See ya.